Hi there and welcome to the first and possibly last cube draft. It's quite near the end of the season, but I thought I'd squeeze one out just in time. Open, not the most exciting pack. Obviously you want some kind of power 9 in your first pick. Channel is probably the most powerful card in the pack, but I'm generally tempted by flashy things in cube draft. It's always fun to just force a strategy, take something splashy first pick and go for it. And the cards in cube are powerful enough that you can most often get away with this. So as you can see, I'm considering Splinter Twin. I'll just say I recorded this. Oh, there it is. It worked out, and we're now all in on the strategy. I'm recording this audio after the actual draft. Just trying a different format out. I figured this way I'd be able to concentrate on the draft rather than concentrating on the talking, and hopefully the actual drafting is better, and hopefully the commentary is better. But yeah, let me know what you think of it. I will also say, I've said it a few times in the podcast, if you listen to that in cube draft, for some reason, I do something that I wouldn't normally do in a draft, which is to take a first pick and then just go all in. I will marry it, and I will stick to that no matter what. I'm generally quite open. I always see my first 3 or 4 picks in a draft as just, take the best card in each pack. Don't worry about the colours. But for some reason in cube draft, I take something and I go, I am all in. This third pick is not particularly exciting. Armageddon's a pretty powerful card. Kozilek might be fun if I get some kind of mana ramp deck. But at the moment, it doesn't look like that's my combo. It looks like my combo is just, Splinter Twin and Exarch. So I figure some card draw is probably fine. It's a tough pick there. I could have taken a Verdant Catacombs just in case I need fix later on. Fetch lands are pretty much always good in cube, and just because there are so many dual lands which you can fetch up. But yeah, I figured card draw can't be a bad thing, right? Interestingly weak pack again. I'm not really getting much exciting in this cube. Again, I think I just go with the card draw. There's a lot of average stuff I could take, a lot of mid-range stuff. I could take, a top just to filter out, or just a bunch of mid-range green, black and white cards. Swords is obviously a good card, but I figure Gush is just card draw, which is good in a combo deck. Ideally, in this kind of deck, you just want some card draw, the combo, and then maybe some removal and counter spells, just to protect your combo. So yeah, Gush it is. An even less exciting next pick, I think. It's got to the point now where I'm thinking, should I just completely come out? This Thrag Tusk is actually it's generally a solid card, but it's also good with Splinter Twin, so I figure if I go in some kind of blue, red, green deck, a bit like the Tarmo Twin deck that Modern used to see a lot of. I won a PTQ a few years ago with that, but it's not that popular anymore, obvious reasons. It's now banned, but yeah, blue, red, green might be good. Speaking of banned cards in Modern, Birthing Pod kind of goes with the new blue, red, green strategy, so I quite excitedly take that. And then get past a pack full of absolute duds. But now that I'm 3 colours, I think I just end up taking the Signet here. Whisperword Elemental's tempting, but there are so many good creatures, and I've already got a 5-drop to go with my Birthing Pod. It's a pretty good 5-drop as well. Obviously, Thrag Tusk is fine when it leaves play. Not a whole lot here. There is a Miner's Desire, which makes me think I probably should have been in Storm at this point, because if that's coming so late, it means none of the people to my right are in Storm, and you can get a busted deck. But I figure Imperial Recruiter, it finds a combo, and it's good with Birthing Pod. It's something to sacrifice, and you don't feel bad about it. Having a 1/1 in the yard is no big deal. Again, an unexciting pack, but Tamiyo is the only card there that I could realistically play, so that gets a pretty quick pick. Mana Fix is never bad in cube, and it looks like I'm probably leaning towards a more heavy green deck at this point. This pick was actually pretty difficult. The options are between Mana Fix and Kitchen Finks. Even though I'm leaning towards more heavy green, double green is quite a commitment. And by the looks of my deck, I want to just spend my early turns ramping and setting up my combo. It might have been the wrong pick, I'm not sure about that. The thing with cube is that there are so many powerful cards that taking up a dual land is kind of like a free pick, because it means you don't use up one of your spells. So you often end up with 30 or so playables, and you end up having to cut good cards. Whereas if you take a bunch of dual lands, you end up with 24, 25 playables, and then you only need to cut a card or 2, and you get to play your 5 or 6 dual lands anyway. Another fairly, difficult pick here. I'm not sure if I want the Hydra just to try and go slightly aggro, or the Avenger to maybe go more mid-range. I end up with the Avenger. I think it's a more powerful card overall, but I'm not sure that was the right pick. I've seen Hydra be very good. I've also seen it be very bad. I haven't played it enough to see how good it is exactly. It might just be a complete dud. I don't know. If you've played Cube a lot, let me know. But yeah, the Avenger is just generally a solid pick, and it might be that my deck just becomes some kind of weird, grindy mid-range deck that happens to have the combo in it. Well, can't say no to a Saki T. It's pretty much exactly what this deck needs. It's a 2-drop creature, it finds lands, and it's mana fix, so I guess those last two were a bit of tautology. Probably won't play Freyalise, but it's probably better picking that up at this point than hating the Master Impulse. I'm not too bothered about Pulse. It's obviously an annoying card, but Freyalise is something I may play. And yeah, I might play Eldritch as well. My deck's not particularly aggro, but it's in my colours. Opened another pretty boring pack here. Again, no power. Nothing particularly amazing. Phyrexian Metamorph is a very good card. It's also slightly tricky because if I am still in this combo, which I'd figure at this point I still am, Spellskite is obviously a very good card to have. It just gives you the backup. Again, it was in the modern deck. So surely it has to be good here, right? Yeah, it just protects the Exarch Splinter Twin combo, and it's fine to just have a blocker early on. It's also a 2-drop, which is relevant to Birthing Pod. Again, a pack of pretty much nothing. I could take that Sword. I could take that Tarmogoyf if I'm going for some kind of mid-range deck. I had to stop and read Fiery Confidence because I don't actually know what it does, but I don't think it's good in my deck. I think eventually I just end up with the Llanowar Elves. I figure I just want something to start ramping out. Elves in this format are generally good because people are playing Moxes, people are playing all sorts of stupid ramp cards, and so you kind of want to try and keep up with them. Obviously, Elves is nowhere near as good as a Mox, but it's good to at least not lose a turn entirely. As in, it's good to not be playing against their 4 lands to your 1 or 2. At least try and make it your 3 lands. Like I was saying before, I really like Dual Lands in Cube, and Volcanic Island was, I think, a fairly easy pick there. There was nothing in the pack that I particularly wanted. Tooth and Nail is the win if I get a Kiki-Jiki, because obviously then find Deceiver Exarch and Kiki-Jiki. It's also a card that I might play if I end up playing mid-range with Avenger of Zendikar. So it seems like a good thing to pick up in case I do end up changing strategy slightly. Huntmaster is good in the combo deck and the mid-range plan. It's also obviously good with Birthing Pod because I don't have any 4-drops at the moment, and it's a card that you don't mind sacrificing too much. This was a pretty tricky one. So Birds of Paradise, like I was saying, Mana Elves are just good. Siege Gang Commander can be found with Imperial Recruiter, and it's also quite a good thing to Birthing Pod into, which makes this quite a tricky pick. And then there's Breeding Pool, which is just mana fix in my colours. I end up taking the Siege Gang Commander. I don't know if that's the correct pick. But yeah, let me know what you think. That's probably the first pick where I've really thought, no, really not sure about that one. Sylvan Caryatid is pretty much the ideal pickup at this point. It's mana fix, it's a 2-drop, and it blocks pretty well, so I'm more than happy to take that. This is a pretty tricky pick. Trigon Predator's really good, but then Regrowth in what is ultimately a combo deck. It's looking less and less like a combo deck at this point. Regrowth is very good. I eventually just take the Trigon Predator. I think it's just the more solid card. It's surprisingly good in Cube. Pretty much everyone has artifacts and enchantments. If you look at my deck, it's some kind of weird mid-range / combo deck that's based on creatures, but it still has 2 artifacts that cost 2 or less. So if someone played Trigon Predator against me, it would still be good. So it's rarely a bad card. You should try and play Trigon Predator in your main deck as much as possible. It isn't a particularly tricky pick, I guess. Arbor Elf does the job. Meh, not much in here that I actually want, so I guess I'll just take the card that's most likely to screw me over. I'm not sure if it's Pernicious Deed or Living Death, but I end up taking Living Death here. Crater Hoof is an option if I'm going for the Tooth and Nail plan, so pop that in my sideboard. Warfare Silverheart is good in a mid-range green deck, but I think Tanglewire is probably better. So yeah, I just take that, put it in the sideboard for now. I'm not sure if I'll end up main decking. I don't know if it's right for this deck. Not a lot here that I particularly want, so I just take a card that I may not want to play against, not too bothered about Kythians. The White Weenie decks are good when people have them, but I don't know, I feel like one Kythian won't make too much difference there. And yeah, there's another Kythian. Whoever's to my left, if you're in white, then good luck. Not even good luck. You're welcome, I should be saying. I just set you up with 2 1-mana 2/1s in the last 2 picks, and that's basically what your deck hinges on. Pack 3, and power count is still 0. I do, however, have the Kiki-Jiki. This would almost definitely table, and I should take that Eternal Witness, but I just figure I can't pass a Kiki-Jiki. I've been building my entire draft around this. I've got the Tooth and Nail, I've got the Deceiver Exarch. I'm just a Pestamite off the full foursome now. But yeah, I'm hopeful that Eternal Witness will table, but it's highly unlikely. At this point, I have another pack of basically nothing. That Grim Monolith is tempting, but my deck doesn't actually have that much to do with colourless mana. I know that sounds ridiculous. Grim Monolith is just a ridiculous card, but I end up just taking the land. It doesn't find that much at the moment. It finds Volcanic Island and Forest. When I say it doesn't find that much, it finds all three colours. It doesn't find a blue-green land, unfortunately, which means I can't activate it to get value on a turn 1 Arbor Elf, unless I just find a Forest. But yeah, I can live with that. I've got another question here of which mana fix would I rather have. Coalition Relic is great for fixing, it's great for ramping, but Izzet Signet falls into the curve better, so I'm really not sure what to take here. Fyndhorn Elves would make my third 1-mana elf, which is possibly too many at this point. So I think I end up taking the Relic. I figured that Fyndhorn Elves was more likely to come round as well, so I might table that and get the Relic now and the Fyndhorn Elves later. Interesting pack here. I maximised this Time Spiral because I was slightly confused. I thought I'd seen it already in the draft. Turns out it was a Mind's Desire, so I was slightly confused by that. Wall of Blossoms is a pretty good pickup for this deck. Mystic Snake is possibly better, but also harder on the mana, so I'm not sure here. At this point, it looks like I might be cutting Art of Blue. I might be cutting that Gush and that Tamiyo and just splashing blue purely for the Deceiver Exarch. I could also just take the Harmonize because drawing 3 cards is never bad. But in the end, I figured, possibly wrongly, I don't know. I think I just figured that, yeah, it's better to just have the Mystic Snake. The Wall of Blossoms may table, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I did take the Mystic Snake here. Yeah, it's no big loss if I don't play it. Wall of Blossoms, it's not like I can not live without it. But I highlighted the Birthing Pod there just because Mystic Snake is obviously good with Birthing Pod. Once you've countered something, then you can find a Thragtusk or a Kiki-Jiki, or a Siege Gang. That's a pretty good deal. I don't often pass Muldrifter, but Bloodbraid Elf is a very good card. I don't have any dead hits, so sometimes you have things like counterspells in your deck that make it a dead hit. And also, Muldrifter is a 3 or a 5 drop, both of which are quite heavy in my deck, whereas 4 drops are fairly empty. So I do just take the Bloodbraid Elf. Again, it feels very wrong passing Muldrifter, but I think that was the right pick. I'm pretty sure that I just don't need a Muldrifter in this deck. Interesting pick here. Primeval Titan's obviously a very good card. I'm not sure it's a card for this deck, though. I don't particularly need it. I have some ramp, which it goes with. I can just ramp out a 6/6 trample. But I think the dual land is just better for me. My mana's... I have a lot of mana fix, but my mana's still not great. And Stomping Grounds is something to find with the Wooded Foothills, so I can find 2 colours on turn 1 and still play an Arbor Elf or a Llanowar Elves. So that there is some value to that. If my hand is Foothills and 2 islands, I don't have to find a forest and then not have a red source. Interestingly, there's a slightly better Stomping Grounds. I could take the Natural Order here. I don't really have that much to find, though. I have quite a lot of small green creatures. I have, well, 4 at the moment I'd be happy to sacrifice. I have the Creative Behemoth in the sideboard, which is pretty good, but I think I just want the Tiger. Natural Order, not great when you don't have anything to find. Could have taken that Woodfall Primus, obviously, but it doesn't really go with my deck. Interesting pick here. Wheel of Fortune is a pretty good card, but it's not really what I want. I think Raphaelos is just better. If I do end up playing some kind of weird Tooth and Nail deck, then Raphaelos is obviously just insane. You can play Tooth and Nail on turn 4. Well, I guess technically, yeah. Technically turn 3 if I go Forest Elf, Forest, Raphaelos Carotid or Raphaelos Tribe Elder or Forest Signet. The Eternal Witness table. I was busy talking. But yeah, technically turn 3 Tooth and Nail would be nice. That would not be entwining it though. I'd just be casting it and hoping I have the Kiki-Jiki and the Deceiver Exarch in my hand, or just I don't know, Avenger and Thragtusk or Siege Gang or something. Anyway, some good creatures. We're kind of at the dregs of the pack here. Nothing particularly nice. Pelucranos will probably never make the main deck, but I don't know. Maybe my opponent's playing the right deck for me to board it in. I don't know. Fyndhorn Elves tabled. I'm actually considering the Signet over it here, but I think in the end, Fyndhorn Elves is just slightly better. It's just nice to have a turn 1 elf in cube. Yeah, I went with the Elves eventually after some umming and ahhing. And the Wall of Blossoms came back as well. It's not the most exciting thing to wheel, but it will probably get played in my main deck. It's a creature, it draws cards. That's pretty much exactly what I want. It gets me close to the combo, and it's something I can Birthing Pod out. Not particularly bothered by either of these cards. I guess if someone wanted High Tide, they would have taken it already. So I'm not too bothered about passing it last pick. Might come back to bite me, I don't know. Comes to deck building, and it's actually quite a tricky build. I have 31 playables, so like I was saying, in Cube you just end up with so many playables, and that's why it's good to pick up those dual lands. Even if I did pick up 5 non-basic lands, I still have 31 playables. So the question is, do I want to have all these sort of big hitters in my deck? I start by just taking out double blue cards. Like I said earlier, I think it's probably better for me to just go a splash of blue. Fraley's is pretty average, so I can just take that out. And because I'm only splashing blue, as wrong as it feels, I'm considering taking out that Ancestral Vision. And there it goes. It does feel wrong, but I think if you can't reliably cast it turn 1, Ancestral Vision's pretty bad. I might change my mind. It might be a slight spoiler that Vision does get played at some point. I take out Eldritch, I don't really need it, and because I'm not really blue anymore, I take out the Predator. So I'm now literally just splashing Deceiver Exarch with the current build. So this will leave me needing to cut no lands, I think, because 16 lands is not ideal in Cube most of the time, but when you have 3 elves and 4 elves, because that Search Tomorrow is basic now, and then 4 ways of fixing or ramping on turn 2, and then the Relic as well. I think 16 lands is possibly even too many for this deck, but I'm not a brave enough man to play 15. So yeah, looking at this build, Avenger of Zendikar gets cut because I'm now not playing that many lands anymore, and it's not that exciting when you just play it for 3 or 4. So I'm now back to adding a card. I'm not sure Eldritch is the right card for this deck, whereas Trigon Predator, as I was saying earlier, it's just a solid card, so I'm considering that as well. Primal Command does find a creature for the combo, but it's not ideal for the combo because it shows your opponent you've got it. It's not like you're going to play it and get value in 1 turn. You're just going to play it, pass with an Exarch in hand, they'll know what's up. So I eventually just end up adding that Tangle Wire. It's just a generally solid card. And it kind of helps to tap your opponent out when you're trying to combo. So yeah, I played the Tangle Wire. I'm not sure if that was the right choice, but it was between that and Trigon Predator in the end, I think. You then see me doing some maths with basic lands. Modo suggests 137. I think I end up just going for that. I definitely don't need more than 1 island. I've got the Volcanic Island and the Wooded Foothills to find it. And then I've got the Search for Tomorrow, the Sylvan Keratid, and the Sakura Tribe Elder, all of which find it, and Coalition Relic, which finds it. So that's 7 sources of blue for 1 card. So yeah, that's more than right. I obviously want a heavy weighting on forests, and I submit the deck. And I'll see you for round 1.